Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? What does sensorality stabilize? But before we get to our derivation steps, first I guess that's what we're doing. Like I said, I've proven this analysis process, and so we're just going through it. There's no point to conjecture, jump around, try to answer random questions. There's clear progression forward, and we're just moving them along. So when I'm like effectively just reading theorems, and then sometimes I try to explain stuff, there's effectively nothing to explain. I know I've said it a bunch, but continuing to emphasize the structures of what these videos are. And so, but first, before we get to the derivation steps, we've now arrived at a good place to talk about falsifiability. You know, here in science class and physics, string theory is going to unify general relativity and quantum mechanics. And if you're at this part in the derivation, well, you know that, again, words have meaning. And so all of these structures, again, theory culturally doesn't even make sense, right? You have explanations. So typically when people say theory, they're saying there's some sort of axioms and you can derive stuff from axioms. But the reality, as we've demonstrated and continue to demonstrate, is there's just consistency to language. And so for falsifiability, they say, you know, can this theory, so to speak, be proven that, can this edifice of ontology, can this explanation, can this structure be shown false? Is there a way to test it? And so we get to string theory is this, you know, culturally emergent thing. We've discussed and derived why it's called string theory. Again, ing, the fundamental syllable for vibration, vibration, the inverse limit of rhythm. If you want to do something maximally efficient, you form a rhythm. And we're right here on our lecture series. Not lecture, derivation. But from rhythm to algorithm. And so, right, they'll say the verbiage that will directly come from that is, you know, string theory is not falsifiable because we don't have access to the energy scales. So now again, we have our direct proven working definitions, axiomatic definitions of energy, movement, potential. So even saying that doesn't make any sense. What they want is momentum, right? Mass times velocity. You want the velocity, not the potential to have velocity to smash things together at a super collider. That's to the language. The overall function, the experimentation is saying, hey, we're going to smash things together and see what type of particles. Again, all of this antimatter is, again, physical opposition. Electron, proton inverses naturally, and then these antimatter particles, you just smash things together with a lot of momentum, not energy, or you're depleting the energy as the momentum increases. Right? Velocity and viscosity are inverses, energy and entropy are inverses. And so energy scales really mean momentum. And then the falsifiability of string theory, they'll say is like there's no way to, right, you need 16 solar masses, 1,000 solar masses, whatever the total mass is to generate that amount of velocity, hence momentum. But now we can ask, is the stuff we are doing falsifiable? Like, does that even make sense, right? All we've said is that words have meaning, and we are going to demonstrate the progression of how words evolve. So that's not an extraordinary claim. There are clearly letters. Those are composed, put together. Sets of letters are words. So what is a word? We just have our definition there. But they're consistent, right? You're following along. You can understand what I'm saying because these sounds represent these experiences, this meaning. And so can we prove, like again, I'm trying to, again, talk in the verbiage. Falsifiability doesn't even make sense. This is overwhelmingly apparently true. It's an analytical process where it's so clear as day, it's like you can't say no to this. The A and the E are inverses. Did I pick A as the first letter of the English alphabet? No. Did you? No. Right, so you're just born into this world where, right, why is there order to alphabets? Right, they're structured somehow. What is it? Right, now we have a geometric progression so to answer questions like that. But it's true, right? We have shapes that represent sounds, and those sounds contain meaning, reflecting experiences we all understand. And so the falsifiability for this, again, it doesn't make any sense, but trying to play this game of what you guys think science is, you'd have to spell all of the words, like, right, we have historical evidence like the Cyrillic alphabet was introduced, the Roman alphabet was introduced, the Sumerian, the Phoenician, the Greek, these were all alphabets introduced. Can anybody seriously today sit down as an individual or even as a group, a country, and say, hey, I'm going to replace the English language with a new script? We're just going to rewrite all of legal precedent, which is all bullshit anyway. But like we're going to replace all of the places where English is used. We're going to use a new shape structure. Right? That would be the falsifiability of this. Again, this is a derivation, but of this, if you want to say, use the T word, theory, yuck. We have a lot of theorems, but no theory. And so you would have to, again, replace, like you could falsify the consistency of the results we've proven. Again, you would have to go, is any university on this planet going to change the spelling of the words mathematics on their buildings? Right? That would prove this inconsistent or something. Like that's the level, and that's where we're at right now. And then once we show this fundamental iteration of sensorality, it's just directly literal, but we've already done it. Speciality is special with an ITY. It's directly literally true, and it's the completion, conclusion, total reduction of this whole analytical process. So, wanted to address the energy levels of string theory is really momentum, because you want the actual velocity, not the potential for velocity. And then they say string theory is not falsifiable, but we have a very clear, direct, immediate thing you could do. Just go, again, start a petition, get out your favorite country, flag, whatever, and go change, again, wherever English is used, don't use the Roman alphabet. And that would effectively be falsifiability for what we're doing. Obviously you can't. So now back into the derivation. What is sensorality? Sensorality is how the universe functions. Right? What are sensors? Sensorality gauges theme. And so we're pairing our linguistics, our letters, sensorality with a C, sensorality with an S, directly to physical processes. And that is like that process, that resolution is the proof. In conclusion, it's this final iteration of letters. Chronologicality is in order. What is chronology? Order. Logic orders. Ordering sequences. Right? Ordering series isn't a word. But again, it's all of this, it's a single representation of chronology. Things have happened in the past. All of the stuff that's happened today is built on that. It's all kind of contained and represented in language. Infinity is the awareness of constant growth. And so truly what infinity is, again, is the awareness that, again, the observable universe is not everything that is out there. But we have limits to how much information can come to any one point. And it's the minimum is the slowest anything can move, the inverse of the speed of light, and the maximum being the speed of light. But then you have gravitational waves that also propagate at that speed. So really you have like a wavy limit. Shout out to Ty Dolla $ign, I'm so wavy, says the cosmological microwave background. But again, it's a wave limit. The waving, that's the word to the limit of things propagating. Radiation radiates, radiation waves. But it's the mass that's moving, and the information is the limit of the not mass. Again, there's no not mass. But that, again, infinity mathematically is this set where it's always increasing. And then there's direct physical balance to how fast and how slow it can increase, but it's always increasing. That's what infinity is. Constant consistency, right? Are constants consistent, right? What is the relationship? And again, pointing out the A from constant, consistency, the E. Are constants consistent? Is consistency constant? So again, more just on because explicitly the E and the A, they're inverses, but they're also that fundamental stability of 2. And so just pointing that out again. What is information to knowledge? Information is data. Knowledge is understanding the data. Not the point comparing, juxtaposing our dichotomy of, again, that was a whole title of an episode, of, again, because all of these words contain this fundamental stability of 2. Conceptualization has this, not this, always. It's irreducible. And so, just relating information to knowledge. Sensorality is knowledgeability, right? That's a very natural word form we use, but it's very linguistically cumbersome. We're just stuffing that E and the A together. Sensorality is knowledge able. Sensorality is knowledgeable. What is orality to knowledge? Right? Most, if not all of our history was preserved orally. That's what she said. But it's true, right? Oral tradition, historically. That's what, right? That's what sensorality is all of knowledge contained within history. But actually, fun stuff. Because a math proof is just as big. We want to cast the net and see how much knowledge we can pull back in. Well, again, I wonder where I've heard that analogy before. Casting a big net. Who knows? Again, nets are the basis of geometry, and they are. But it produces that knowledge to orality, linguistically, conceptually, is the historical progression of oral tradition. Knowledge is a privilege, right? You can sit there and Google stuff and learn stuff, and you just choose not to because you're a big dumb fuck. Nice. Words are sets of letters. What is a word? Kind of led with that, but it's true. Again, it's directly, literally true. And then we're demonstrating this irreducibility of conceptualization. Physical processes real, and we have an error bound, we have language to represent that, and you can show that. And that's that completion of sensorality giving us our working definition. Words are sets, spelling, sets, right? No versus no, knowledge versus a negation, right? It's the spelling, there's linguistical representation sets the meaning. Spelling sets. Setting primes. Can you go set the table? Can you get primed up? Can we get ready to go? Rhythm rhymes. Setting primes, rhythm rhymes. And then rhythm rhymes being a natural definition. Diffusing fades. Sensorality fades. Oh, you want to catch a fade, homie? Catch me out back. Goofy ass. Fading retreats. Yeah, get on with your goofy self. Treat, retreat. Sensorality defends. Sensorality fends off. Sensorality flips a switch. What is flipping to filtering? Does your light switch filter a circuit? Again, just showing the logical progression. Main is primary. Domain is primary. Right? This is my domicile. This is my home. Domain, domicile. But domain is primary. Main is primary. Sensorality is primary focus. And so, that is where I have for derivation right now. My rights continue to be violated. I try not to bog down every video, but my life quality is truly at 0. So to the people that continue to violate my rights, steal all of my property, and destroy my life, I continue to beg for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. No expectation that will ever change, but I keep asking because, well, I was told there's other human beings out in the world that have some sort of morals or integrity or decency or something, or the law would at least matter, and it just doesn't. So I just want history to really remember that, and then find all the people involved, and then prosecute the fuck out of them. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.